So today's video is the third and final part in my How to Write Better chord progression series, where we're going to talk about the exciting subject of modal interchange. Now, modal interchange is a relatively simple concept that I feel like is often kind of shrouded in mystery, so stay tuned and we'll dive into it and make sure we look at the applications of it and how you can get the most out of it in your compositions. So, what is modal interchange? Or modal mixture. This goes by two names, but they mean the same thing, and it's basically the practice of borrowing chords from a parallel mode. Now, parallel mode may sound confusing and scary, and fair enough if it does. It's really not. Parallel mode just means two modes that share the same root. So say, for example, G Ionian, or G major, and G minor, which is also known as G Aeolian, would be parallel modes because they both share the root G. And this makes them an excellent way that we can borrow chords from, because we can, excellent place that we can borrow chords from, because our ear knows that they share the same root. It's not going to sound like we're just throwing nonsense into our chord progressions. And so let's take a look at how we could apply some of this stuff in, So let's take a look at how we can mix up some chords from G minor and G major. First, we need to make sure that we know what chords we're talking about. So up here, there's going to be a beautiful little diagram that shows you what chords are in each, and I'll do a quick recap. So in G major, we have 1 major, G major, 2 minor, 3 minor, 4 major, 5 major, 6 minor, 7 diminished, and 1 major. And my tonic chords there are 1, 3 minor, and 6 minor. My subdominant chords are 2 minor and 4 major. And then my dominant chords are 5 major and 7 diminished. Now, if I go to the key of G minor, I have 1 minor, 2 diminished, flat 3 major. I have 4 minor. This is one of the best chords to steal. I have 5 minor. One of the worst chords to steal. I have flat 6 major, I have flat 7 major, and I have 1 minor again. So, if we were to go through those, again, really quick, my tonic chords are 1 and flat 3. My subdominant chords are 2 diminished, 4 minor, and flat 6 major. Flat 6 major, you might be thinking, why isn't that a tonic substitution? Because that's how it works in major. And it's just that flat 6 is a little bit too, it doesn't really sound very tonic-y. It sounds too restless if I do that. So if I played, say, like a G minor flat 6, we would get this kind of sound. And really that sounds like E flat over G. It doesn't sound like a 1 minor kind of situation. And then my dominant chords are technically 5 minor and flat 7, although 5 minor is a really, really weak minor. And just to prove that to you, tell me which of these sounds better, this or this. It's the second one, right? So even in minor keys, even though the 5 is supposed to be minor, it often is major. And that's an example of either modal interchange or dipping our feet into harmonic or melodic minor, which is a subject for another video. So those are our basic chords. Now let's look at how we can start applying some of these modal mixtures, because I know that sometimes when I first learned this, I was like, oh, so I can kind of do anything. I can use any chord from G major or any chord from G minor. And while that is technically correct, one of the best ways to get used to the way that these feel is to borrow chords from to borrow chords and fit them into different chord progressions. So let's say, for example, in the key of G, we have a simple 1-4-5 progression. So that would be G, C, D, G. So this in chord functions is tonic, C, or my 4 chord is a subdominant, and then my 5 chord is a dominant. So I have tonic, subdominant, dominant, tonic, if I bring it back to G after that D. So let's replace, say, our subdominant chord, and let's say rather than C major, let's say I use, I'm going to use E flat, so that's flat 6 from G major, or from G minor. And so now my chord progression would be G, E flat, to G. Now, here's what that would actually sound like if I play it kind of in time. So we would have... Sorry, I went to F, which is flats. So my chord progression would be G, E flat, D to G. And all I did is I replaced the subdominant chord of that 4 chord, the C, with a subdominant from G minor, which was my E flat. So this is what this would sound like. We get... Beautiful sound. What if I changed a different one? Let's say I keep G goes to C, so I'll go 1 to 4, but then I'm going to go to flat 7 to 1. Now I would sound, and so flat 7 again is the dominant chord that is subbing in for D, which is the dominant chord in G major. So this would sound like this example of modal interchange. So G, C. What if I put the two of those together? I replace the subdominant and the dominant. So now it's going to be G, E flat, F, G. This is a really, really common one. When I do this, you'll probably go, oh, I know this. It's a ton of really good ones. And then it would be a shame if I didn't point out this beautiful plagal cadence that comes from modal mixture, where say we have a progression, let's say we kind of flip this 1-4-5 and it's a 1-5-4. So if we went from G to D, and then we went to C, a plagal cadence is again when a subdominant chord resolves to 1, typically the 4 chord. So in the key of G, like a normal one would sound like this. G, D, 5. Common sound there, but now check this out. If we throw in one extra chord, what if we went G, D, C, and then we played C minor to G? This is one of my favorite sounds in all of music, and it sounds like this. Kind of screwed that up. Let me do that one more time. Beautiful. When that's C, I'll do one more with the chords a little bit lower, so then... 4 minor going to 1 is one of my favorite sounds, again, in all of music. And so that's kind of a way that you can dip your toes into this idea of modal mixture and modal interchange. It's a beautiful sound. It's a whole deep world of everything under the sun that you can kind of throw at it. But it's this topic that I think is often made more confusing than it really is. So I hope this made sense. If you have any questions about it, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section there. I'll try to get back to you and see if I can clarify things, because I know that theory stuff tends to be confusing until it finally clicks in your brain and you go, oh, it's actually that easy. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. It truly helps me out more than you could know. If you want to take a guitar lesson with me, I have a link to the contact page of my website down in the description. I'd love to work with you on whatever's troubling you on the guitar. Last but not least, I got new videos coming out every Monday and every Thursday, so I'd love to see you in the next one. And until I do, I'll wish you a wonderful day, and I hope you have some fun playing the guitar. Thank you so much for watching.